Welcome back to Games Revealed. I'm James and also the Brink, and we are one community starting at 8 p.m. every night. That's Mountain Time though, so 7 for the West Coast and 10 o'clock for the East Coast. So it has been a few weeks since I've given a live, or I've done a live stream. I did a premiere 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, and then a week ago, I just wasn't able to make anything as I got super busy. Okay, so what is on the docket tonight? Oh, Wolf, welcome. Is that we're going to be talking about all the closures Microsoft's doing. We're going to be talking about PlayStation and Helldivers. Thank you, Wolf. Yes, I got this hat. I know I'm getting distracted already. So, Wolf, I got this hat at the Coca-Cola place in Vegas. I finally got a new hat. I've been wanting a new hat. It looks really big on my head. Looks like oh man, it even makes my ears go down. Sorry, I'm getting distracted with my hat. I like it. It's like Japanese Coca-Cola. I honestly don't know what this says. I'll have to look it up. But I'm assuming Coca-Cola because it's a Coca-Cola hat. Okay, so what we're going to be talking about. Yes, thank you, Necrosphere. Yes, you're early for once. You're on time is what you should be saying. And yes, thank you for the Coke hat. Yes, the Coke hat is great. Oh, Coca-Cola, man. Its name is... It rhymes with so many good things. Okay, so... we're going to be talking about... Like I said, we're going to be talking about the closures from Microsoft. We're going to be talking about PlayStation and Helldivers 2. And we're going to be talking about some predictions for ROG Ally, just to see if we get it right. And then maybe if we're lucky, tomorrow I'll do a stream or some type of content on ROG Ally 2's information and all that. So how is everyone doing? How are you doing, Wolf? How are you doing, Necrosphere? It will probably take a couple of weeks for everyone to show back up because I find that when when I take a week or two off of this, it tends to not go well in the sense of viewership. So, it is what it is for tonight. But I'm glad you guys showed up. So, and I'm gonna fix my lighting. It covers my eyes, so like the shadow when I'm trying to read and everything. There, let's do this. There we go. Let's get on over. If there's any news you guys want to talk about, there is that one console that who is it that's working on it? If you can, what is the cap, Rachie? It's a Coca-Cola cap. So I know it's new. I've been needing to get a new hat for forever. I saw it. I like it. I like the color scheme, and it's Japanese. So yeah. Necrosphere, doing good. I saw you were going to stream 11 hours ago and set my reminder alert. Yes, that's the thing. I tried to make sure that I let it. The thing is, I could schedule this a couple of months in advance if I wanted to. I just don't know what the topic's going to be, and I'd hate to schedule it. I like to schedule it when the thumbnail and the title can reflect everything, or else I think it kind of throws things off. Maybe could edit it. I don't know. So. Even though I do, Cascoder, you are not late. You are 3 minutes early. We're 3 minutes late, but a few minutes early before we've gone into the content. So, it's going to be, honestly, this is going to be a good episode. It will be a little dev heavy and a little bit of I'm going to give my perspective as I've done, both, software engineering and I've been on the business side of things. Like, in dev management roles, you have to, carry some product management too, depending on what startup and everything. So I'm going to have my take on all this because honestly, it's pretty effed up. What Microsoft's doing is pretty effed up, but honestly, probably still would have happened even if it wasn't for the acquisition and everything. Hey, Kranos, welcome. Imagine being still up. I know. You're crazy. But you're up this late anyways, Nick. Or Cray. So, yeah, Cray is here. Blade Warhammer. Yeah, you love Warhammer. You and Chad. Let's see here. Well, we got a lot of big time games revealed peeps that I see all the time. So let's get going on this, or else I'm gonna dive into it anyways. Ghostwire 2. No, I don't think there's gonna be any Ghostwire 2. Yeah, it sucks. I still need to beat Ghostwire 1, which I've been not. I want to stream. I just haven't been streaming lately, as I've been trying to catch up on all my other things, like my game designs, which I'm getting into a healthy flow on that. So I'm getting back into developing, and I shouldn't show you the code because I think I have some secrets in there, meaning like password stuff. But the deck rebuild project is I'm working on again. A big part, and I'll give updates at the end. So I'm back into trying to get into the flow of getting everything working on, and priorities and all that. So the deck revealed because I keep on getting people that want it, and I want to finish it. And a big part of the reason I had a lull is because a design decision when it comes to the database and all that. And I think I have a solution that's going to make a lot of people happy, where I can make it mostly free with a few exceptions. And I wanted the ROM stuff to kind of, like the emulator stuff, to kind of roll over, and I just don't know if I'm going to be able to support that. So a lot of problems with that project has been more of indecision on me not wanting to get into even any legally gray areas, because I just don't want the struggle with all that. And there's a lot of projects already. What I want the project to do is make it just easy for people to utilize apps, games. Mods is actually where I'd like to go more into on that project, than ROMs and emulators. But I'll still have a script to install, like the EmuDeck stuff and all that. And I know the EmuDeck can do some of the stuff that mine can do. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's a fun project. So I'll talk about it at the end. But yeah, Cray, you don't just have a game backlog, but you also have a hobby backlog. Yes, I have a hobby backlog. Honestly, the deck revealed project, I want it to be more than a hobby. Between the games revealed, YouTube, the deck revealed, package for Steam Deck and other devices, and also my video game, those I want to be what I work on for the next few years. So they're not really, I'm going to bring them out. They're going to be hobby still. Like, they're going to be hobby until they start. I consider them hobby until they start making money. I make money from games revealed YouTube. But the other two, I'm going to back away from making money for now on. Necrosphere, my favorite game is installing and tweaking games to my liking and play for a bit, then uninstall. I'd love to make automatic installers that install the settings and everything, but that's going to be, we'll see. I have a lot of, the deck revealed project has always been a little lofty in its goals. So it's going to definitely, I'm going to bring it back around. I still have I know I didn't say, I said I wasn't going to go into it, but yet, but I still have a lot of the stuff for it that includes features and all that. So I'll get into it later. And it's going to be one of those things, it's going to be incremental. I want to make sure the stuff that I have set forth already in it is solid. But it is definitely going to be like, I'll work on it probably on average 10 hours a month or a week, which would be more like 20 to 30 hours probably a month. That doesn't average out, but whatever. Let's get into the news and not bore anyone that might be listening to cover. Let me know in chat. I will pull it up, or you can throw it into Discord. Let's see here. Let's bring Discord up over here. So yeah, so we can cover everything that we want to cover. But these are the big items that I know of, and then there's the the game console that's being co-developed by, I want to say Pop-Tart, but I don't think it's Pop-Tart. I don't know. You guys could remind me if you want. Okay, first up, Microsoft closes Redfall developer Arcane Austin, which there's multiple Arcane studios, but Arcane Austin's the one that developed Redfall. And let's see here. They also developed sorry, give me 1 second. I want to see because there's multiple Arcane studios. Let's see, Arcane Austin's games. Yeah, so Arcane opened its Austin studio in 2006, and it helped create the popular Dishonored series, along with the popular titles like Prey and Deathloop. Most recently, Arcane Austin created highly. Yeah, see, what is that? Just Austin? What other games has Arcane Studios created? Now I'm kind of curious. Like, okay, The Dark Messiah. Like, Dishonored is a big series. I'm actually really shocked that they're laying off Arcane. Like, the Arcane Austin Studios, I guess, because they're the ones that created. I thought it was a different studio of Arcane Studios that developed. Interesting. Yeah, so Dishonored, the publishers that, what are the developers? Developed by Arcane Austin. A first title to be developed separately by Arcane Lion. Okay, so the Arcane series has been taken over by Lion. Okay. And then it sounds like they broke things up. Yeah, Arcane Lion might be the main developer with them now, with some help from some other sub-dev groups. So, Rachie, didn't they make the game Prey? The original Prey? They made the Prey game that came out in 2017. The original Prey, I believe, was a different studio, because it came out... When did Prey came? Prey, I think... I don't remember, but I think Bethesda owned the IP and then they wanted to use it, and it's a whole debacle on how that all worked. Worked out with Prey, the original Prey, because the original Prey has you're a Native American and you get abducted by aliens essentially, and it has portals and stuff in it, kind of ahead of its time. And then the new Prey is more of an alien entity comes onto a space station, and this is a timeline that's split around the Cold War era, and it's really good. Both are really good games, but Prey, the original Prey, is a really good game. Like, I'm really upset that Redfall was such. They shuttered it because Redfall was not good, and I have a feeling that this came down to a lot of reasons why Redfall was not that good. But I don't think it's... If you have one flop, I don't think it makes it right to shutter a studio. I think that's kind of not right, in my opinion. Especially if if it's made really good games in the past. But yeah. Fred, welcome. C-Tanek, welcome. Reggie, if I have not said it yet, welcome. Kranos, I loved Dishonored and Dark Messiah, but generally felt IMO. Deathloop was good, but as it says right here, it was Arcane Lion. Leon, whatever you want to call it. And which shouldn't be a mark against Arcane Austin, but Redfall was a disaster. And I can almost guarantee with a lot of these titles, like with Cyberpunk 2077, it needed more time to cook. They spent a lot of time working on Redfall. And it's too many cooks in the kitchen kind of debacle, I think, is what's happening with AAA titles lately, is you have a lot of developers, you have a lot of dev business side or planners or dev, or, what are they? Game directors, business directors, a lot of hands being in the pot to create these games in AAA because they're massive budgets. And I want to get into it a little bit later. Hopefully, I don't forget and talk about how I think the AAA's scene could be saved. And I definitely don't think it's more money. And smaller projects, honestly. They need to go the indie route. So Satanic, yes, Prey was on the Doom 3 engine. The original Doom, Prey was on the Doom 3 engine. Like, in fact, I'll show you. This is in honor of these studios being shut down because it's honestly pretty awesome. Not that they're being shuttered, but the games were awesome. I think it's definitely a shame that they're. Let's see, Prey, sex gameplay. Let's do gameplay. Yeah. And of course, wow, that's an awkward ad.
The world is full of Time to time, they permit themselves to be told.
Let's see here. My mute doesn't work right now.
Hey, Tommy!
It is time to let go of the mortal world, Tommy.
So,
Time to become a part of the sacred fire. Let go now.
yeah, it's got the Native American kind of lore and all that stuff built into it, based around aliens and all that. Man, you forget how good the Doom 3 engine was at lighting, because the textures are like, and that's how Doom 3 was. The textures were just like not great, but you got Doom 3's lighting that really saved it and really makes it look better than it was. But yeah, 2006, man, it looks pretty good. You can definitely, if you look though, and the Doom 3 problem is, the Doom 3 engine's problem is that it definitely exaggerates a lot of things to make it feel very plasticky. But yeah, as you see, you got the portals. Yeah, it was a game ahead of its time in some ways, and also I do think it falls flat in some of the storytelling and in some of the areas. It gets boring, so I don't think it succeeded as well as it could have. Definitely a game ahead of its time, but flawed. That's why they didn't pick it up and continue doing it. So, yeah, you got the developer. So, yeah, you got Arcane Austin. Hi-Fi. Let's see. Tango Gameworks, which did Evil Within, Hi-Fi Rush, Ghostwire Tokyo. Now, to be fair, and let's see if anyone has anything to say, I guess, before we dive into this. Satanic Deathloop was decent, but I didn't love it. I have it. I have not played it. I've seen good stuff on it. I've seen stuff that where Deathloop is like the thing. Here's the thing. We're not going to get the best game every time. And there are games that people are going to like that other people are not. The balance nowadays either needs to be like, if you're going to do a super lofty project, you better make sure the audience is ready for that. If you know you're going to have a subgroup like Dead Space fans, then don't make a $500 million project. Make a $50 million project, and you're going to walk away making lots of money. And you're going to have developers that are happy, that can swap in and out. They're gonna run out of good developers because no one's gonna want to be a developer, or they're gonna just do developing on the side as a hobby because the game industry is toxic. And I'll talk about that more as we get going along. Raichi Leon is working on Lion or whatever it is, working on the Blade video game. Okay, that makes sense. Kranos, I guess you could justify Redfall for closure, but Hi-Fi Rush Yeah, I agree. So, Brett, well, here's the thing. I actually don't agree with that. I don't think because you have one debacle, you should be closing a studio, especially if they have a track record. Now, the problem with, and maybe this is why it was shuttered and closed, is that I think the Austin branch of um of the studios, Arcane Studios, was already a mess. I think there was people that left and all that in the midst of that game coming out, so it caused a lot of issues. A lot of people don't understand what it takes to make stuff behind the scenes, what goes down. A lot of weird political stuff can destroy everything. Hi-Fi Rush was a success, from my understanding. It was a really good game. Evil Within is a pretty successful series. Now, is it a Call of Duty series? No, and that's what I'm worried about. These studio or these publishers and owners of the IPs want is mega hits, and you're not going to get mega hits every time. Yes, Hi-Fi Rush is a hidden gem in some ways, where it didn't do as well as it could have and should have. Raichi, Hi-Fi Rush didn't sell well. Great game, but commercially a failure. I don't think it was a failure. I think Game Studios, let's see. Hi-Fi Rush earnings. We estimated that Hi-Fi Rush made $26 million in gross revenue since it's okay. Refunds, no. Oh, wow. Refunds, look at that. Okay. That's interesting. Interesting. Discounts, look at that. Steam cut. Wow. Yeah, okay. Is Hi-Fi? Let's see. It's on PlayStation 5. So this is just based off of Steam, but damn. That's not good. We could probably safely assume that double, triple that figure from the consoles, but wasn't it also included with the Microsoft's subscription service, right? Yeah, that's pretty bad. Like, people forget how much everything is. Oh man, how much everything is just freaking siphoned. Discounts alone is like really high for a $30 game. Is just wow. Refunds, Steam cut. Steam cut's ridiculously high. VAT sales and all that. Yeah. Ugh, sales tax. It's a lot taken from sales tax. Okay, but it should be. Well, VAT maybe, but sales tax it should be piled on top of. I don't think actually that gets removed. So this is a weird metric. I'm not sure about this metric. Yeah, so anyone that got it for a discount, you're the one that destroyed the Tango Gameworks and Hi-Fi Rush. It's all your guys' fault. Nah, I'm kidding. For the most part, but definitely if we like something, we need to probably try to pay it. Like, find the way that's going to give the developers the most money if you want to keep on seeing additional items in that from that studio. It definitely felt like an indie title, and in some ways Tango Gameworks maybe should have tried to go the indie route, but I mean, when you have a huge studio, I'm sure that would have been really difficult, if not impossible. Yeah, ZeniMax was forcing a live service. Yeah, and yep. Satanic, you're right. They when it comes to Redfall, that is, there was a force for live service, all that with that. Game Pass could also be blamed for lower sales, and that's why it's kind of like I look at those numbers, and yeah, those numbers don't add up to me. And they only have 65 employees. So Tango Gameworks actually is a small studio. Interesting. Yeah. 65. kind of curious now. Let's do some high-end calculations. Let's say that each person on average made 150,000 a year. This is on average. This is probably high. This is very high. And then it took, let's say, Hi-Fi took 3 years to develop. So we'd be looking at, this is the number. They'd also probably need to get outside consultancies to do testing and all that. So you'd probably want to add another 10 million to that. So probably a good $40 million required to make this game. This is why we need tooling that's going to be a little bit faster. For every year that you're in game development is millions of dollars. It's not cheap. That's not cheap. That's why I'm really, like, honestly, looking at these numbers, we probably need to start upping the cost of video games. No one wants to hear that, though. Not necessarily for AAA titles, but for, like, some titles, I don't know. It depends on how much it takes to put in. Really depends on the game. Some games just won't exist, like Dead Space. I'd be willing to pay $100 for that game. And I think a lot of the fan base would be too, if they justified it by paying their developers better and made sure the developers would have long-term success with the franchise. I think we need a change of our frame of mind on this. Both us as gamers and also the publishers. I don't want to be giving an extra $30 to $40 to the developers or to the publishers and have their stock prices rise and none of it trickle down to the developers. I don't want to see that. I want to see a decent balance. Okay. That's just, I don't know how to fix it otherwise. Or else we're going to probably continue to see. And the thing is, because of Ghostwire Tokyo and Hi-Fi Rush, because those are both mid in the sense of, honestly, all their titles have been probably mid on the sales side of things, meaning none of them have sold amazingly. Evil Within, while an amazing series, is one of my favorite series. And it's probably my top 25. I really like it. Maybe top 50. It required a lot. It's a cult classic horror game. And when you have a cult-backed horror game, oftentimes it doesn't do as well as other video games. Like, I love horror, but it's surprisingly how many games don't do well that are horror, which is very unfortunate. Let's see. My favorite graphic style is the Doom 3, Half-Life 2, Fear from the late PS2 early. Oh, okay, Kranos. Yeah, no, I honestly like the art style or the graphic style of Doom 3, Half-Life 2 and all that. But I will have to admit, I'm a big sucker for progression, and I love the new stuff that's coming out. If stylized properly. I actually really like the Unreal Engine's direction on graphics. Satanic, if these games are flopping with years of work and millions of dollars dumped into it, but you are making more money from skins and microtransactions, why bother with some of these studios? 100%. But you're dropping. So here's the thing. Here's the thing that they might not be understanding. If you don't build some of these lower end games, meaning lower end as in they don't make as much money, or let's call them AA title games, I'd consider Hi-Fi Rush. If you want to put on the grandiose scheme of things, it's a very traditional single player type game that's really good. It's not this grandiose hundreds of millions of dollars I hope put into it. It's tens of millions of dollars put into it. And we got to scale things back. I think 65 employees is pretty healthy. I do think some of these studios, if they want to continue making games like this, will have to figure out a balance of maybe not making as big of a game or making more episodic games, and people are going to have to deal with that. Or they're going to have to start, with a smaller team, or else we're just not going to get anything. Oh, this is 65 according to 2012 too. So this is probably low. This is probably double to triple what this is. So that's a lot. Potentially could have cost $100 million to make Hi-Fi Rush. Okay, so here's my thing. I think gamers need to get better educated when it comes to what they buy. I know it's really simple to just want to buy a game and play it, get enraged if it's not what you want, but we need to understand what it takes to make video games. And I'd like to see honest submissions of how much things cost. Like, I want to know how much of the money that this game raked in and how much went to the development studio as opposed to lining the publisher's pockets. I think the publishers deserve to get paid if they're putting in money for these projects, but I don't want to see these gross increase of commissions and all that. Okay, not commissions, but like profit. It's almost profit stealing in some ways, but at the same time, people need to remember that publishers do stick their neck out when they do fund and help developers. It's just there are predatory publishers. And Microsoft, while I'm really honestly fairly upset with Microsoft because some of these games are amazing, some of these studios might have gone away anyways. So, yeah, the Redfall, Arcane Austin would have probably been shuttered. Redfall was such a disaster, and depending on how much money they were willing to risk on the next one, it was going to be shuttered or moved into another studio. Okay, I'm getting behind on your guys' comments, so give me a second. Satanic, if these games are flopping with years of work and millions of dollars dumped into it, but you are making more money from skin. Oh, yeah. So to kind of finally answer this one with the skins and microtransactions, why bother with some of these studios, is that I'm not a person that plays games with microtransactions and with skins. Typically, I have purchased skins from Overwatch and I think one or two other games. Not a whole lot, though. I usually purchase the ones that I want, and that's it. And it's usually not much. I buy like one or two skins, maybe. So at the end of the day, I'm not a great target. If you want to target me and my money and some of my generation, single player games are big deals for us, right? We want a single player game. And a lot of these games that I like, Dead Space, Half-Lives are more mainstream, StarCraft, stuff like that, is that they're still popular, and I think the base is growing, but it's not enough to cover the cost of growing, cost of developing, and so what they need to understand now is they need to take a different mindset of, if you want to leave that money on the table, because you're leaving money on the table. If you're not making the games that I want, I have plenty in the backlog that I'll go play. I'm not going to go and just start playing your microtransaction game. With a few exceptions. Now, if you catch me, like if they did an Evil, I don't even know if they did an Evil Within like MMO kind of style, if I'd play that. It's not my style of game for that type. I like how traditional Evil Within is. So even if you tried to bend the franchise in and break the community up with that, it still wouldn't facilitate what it wants. So at the end of the day, to answer your question, Satanic, I know there's a really long, a roundabout way to do it. In my opinion, is that they're leaving money on the table. Not everyone wants a microtransaction skin game. While those might make more money, throw more developers at it, throw more resources at it. I'm fine with that. But you're also going to probably want to set aside some money and make these other games that gamers like me want with smaller budgets and maybe smaller. Like, instead of it being a 30-hour game, maybe make it like an 8-hour game. I'm fine with that. I don't have the time to spend on 30-hour games unless it's a grandiose game that I've been wanting for a while. If it's a Dead Space style game, I'm fine with 6 hours to 8 hours. Make sure it's just long enough to justify the price tag and make sure it has just enough replayability. That's all I need. That's all I need. I'm sure a lot of you here would also agree with part of this. Like, we all don't want microtransaction and skin games. Game studios are leaving money on the table. That's why indie devs are cleaning up. Indie devs will come in with simple games or games that aren't as big or grandiose. Like my game even is, it's going to be graphically like good, but it's not one of those games that is, it's going to be, I'm hoping to get 4 hours out of the gameplay of it. It will have a lot of interesting concepts to it, and it will have, it will hopefully feel good. But at the end of the day, I don't have the budget to make a AAA title, 100-hour game that has, so much stuff put into it. I can create a couple really cool game loops and hooks, but it can't be grandiose. And so, but at the end of the day, if I pull it off, will do much better than if it's a big dev trying to make my same game. Raichi, it's like 3D platformers like Yuka, Lele failed. Only established franchises can work. No, I don't think an only established franchise will work, Raichi. I think we just have so many franchises out there and so many cult classics and so what. But the thing is, games are taking longer to build, so it's just we're starting to get into this world where things are fractioning a little bit. Some people like games like Dead Space. Some people like games like Baldur's Gate wouldn't be a good example because it did really well, but like some fantasy like niche games, RTS. There's a lot of different niches out there, and those niches are starting to grow really big actually. Where if you give me more of like the games I love, I will probably be focusing on those niches more, like Dead Space. So, yeah. Cascoder is someone who backed Yooka-Laylee and is now damned to be in the credits. Yooka-Laylee didn't understand scope and pacing 100%. Scope and pacing's big deal. Satanic, Activision Blizzard had to change the entire tune of Microsoft. Yeah. Activision Blizzard was, from the Activision side, they got Call of Duty, which is a massive franchise. All the Blizzard franchises they're not in good place. They're not in good places. Every one of the IPs in the Blizzard franchise or in the IP pool for Blizzard is not doing well, in the sense of they're making money, they're cash cowing, but it's at the end of their lives. Almost all of them. StarCraft 2, almost everyone. I couldn't imagine that one be making much money these days. World of Warcraft still probably makes some money, but it's definitely not what it was in its heyday. Overwatch just pissed everyone off with a lot of their changes. It's just like, even me, I haven't wanted to go back and play it because it just doesn't feel the same anymore. I mean, I still do go back and play it every once in a while, but it's just doesn't feel the same, like I said. So I'm not as ready to play it. Hearthstone is one that's cash cowing out too. I don't think it's doing as well. It's just Blizzard's kind of just killing itself. So, welcome, Andre. Also, have a good night's sleep, Andre. Okay, so yeah. Hi-Fi Rush tried to get any money it can. The same day that it announced the closure of Humble Bundles, Hi-Fi Rush for Humble monthly. Yeah, I could see that. And Satanic grabbed the bundle. Good. Farouk, the ROG Ally 2 is tomorrow. I will talk about it a little bit tonight after we get done with these talks about this closures. Hi-Fi gifted, and that's the thing. I think game publishers need to start understanding goodwill, and that there are loss-leading products out there. So in the retail space and in the other parts of the business world, there are called loss leaders, right? You take a loss on them. Costco's a great example of this because you know it's going to drum up business for everything else. Costco with this rotisserie chicken is still $5, which is crazy, even with all the increases and all that. It's a lot, and that's a loss leader, meaning they don't make any money off that. What they do make money off of, and that's what they say. Honestly, they probably still do. What they do make money off is everyone else going there. They're going to pick up something else. You don't go to Costco just to get rotisserie chicken. You go there and you're going to buy other stuff. That's how Costco's done so well. They need to start looking at some of these these games as loss leaders, meaning it is something that developers are super passionate about, and maybe even get them in front of a camera, and you might more easily sell it. It's going to give goodwill for the name of the publisher. And if you do it right, you could even promote, even in the game. I know people aren't going to like this, but in the game menu, you could even promote maybe Call of Duty or something like that. Something that might be a lead on how much it earns if you're afraid that it's not going to make back enough money. That being said, I'm not trying to give them ideas or anything like this, but they might need to start thinking of loss leaders. Something that's going to give them a good brand identity. Because right now they're just, all these publishers, big publishers, are pissing everyone off. And I'm usually like, well, you know, I'm still going to buy something from like a company and all that. But like, the more and more I see it, the more and more I'm like, it's not interesting enough for me. I'm not going to buy it. Like, cause you have a negative image in most of these, even Blizzard these days. Diablo 4 might be the last game I buy for a while from Blizzard, because I bought it. It was good, but it was lacking soul that a lot of Blizzard games usually had. Albeit I liked Lilith. She was an awesome character. It just didn't feel the same. And so if they made a StarCraft 3, I'd easily jump onto that. But beyond that, like, I just don't know if I'd buy anything else from them, I'd be much more hesitant, where back a couple years ago, I would have bought anything Blizzard came out with, and I did. So yeah, goodwill does, like, I will buy more from a place that has like CD Projekt Red. I know people are really pissed at that, and they probably do have a little bit of a loss from that. For me, I like Cyberpunk 2077. So for me, CD Projekt Red, like with Witcher 3 and with Cyberpunk 2077, has won my faith in that I'm going to buy your next game. I will. And if it's bad, that's on me. And then maybe the next game I won't buy from you. But they've already proven to me that I will most likely buy their game. I'm not going to rest on it and wait on it and all that. Like, there's most likely I'll just buy it and play it. Wasn't there a rumor of getting Gravity Rush remaster for Steam? Oh yeah, I think there was, Kranos, by the way. Gravity Rush. Man, that's, yeah. Didn't the talent of Tango leave anyways? Probably. And that could be a good reason why Tango Gameworks folded. There's a lot of things that can fall from it. It's a great time to promote people, though. Like, with some of these studios closing, they could have promoted some new developers and game designers and all that, and maybe figured it out. But I mean, that's what they did, and they failed. I'm upset because the IPs that I love are kind of just done now. 343 can be mediocre, but they bring the money. Yeah, 343 was brought in to be mediocre and make Halo decent, but not what it should have been. But to be fair, I don't know if the Halo series was going to continue to grow well anyways. True Blue Microsoft, dude, Microsoft can email. Yeah. I mean, I'm not happy with Microsoft right now. I'm pretty upset, but there is a little bit of understanding to go on in this with the studios not performing well anyways. And on top of that, talent could have left. There's a lot that we don't know. I'm going to give them that a little bit of benefit of the doubt, but it doesn't mean that they could have found a way for it to work. Because I love the Evil Within series. I think Hi-Fi Rush was great. I think a lot of these companies were great. And I think what's going to happen, from my understanding, let's look at this. reprioritization of titles and resources means a few teams will be realigned to others, and that some of our colleagues will be leaving us. Yeah, so it sounds like they'll reassign. Yeah, Arcane Lion is working on Marvel's Blade, survives the coal, as does Bethesda Game Studios. Fallout. Well, of course, Fallout. Bethesda Game Studios is gonna not gonna give. If anything, the Fallout series has probably made it so that they've increased their developer account. Yeah, game developer Doom has been a great performer too, I'd assume. So I would be surprised if they, so like all those strong studios didn't get affected, or they absorbed some of the people. But at the end of the day, from my understanding, all these closures are going to be, yeah, the company announced plans to cut 1,900 staff from its video game force, which is big. Let's see here. I want to look for a specific number. Yeah. So layoffs are sweeping the video game industry, and this is really big deal. This is going to affect the quality games we have, I think, also. And I don't know what people are going to do. Like, usually with capitalism, these areas grow, and I feel like video games is not growing the amount of developers it has to how much money it makes. They're just kind of doing what a lot of other places are. They're putting more and more work on certain developers. So we'll see, though. Layoffs are sweeping the video game industry, with a number of high-profile studios cutting staff or shutting down. In stark contrast to a year of blockbuster video game hits, one of the biggest ongoing industry trends in 2023 was the prevalence of mass layoffs, and they have continued into 2024. While actual figures are difficult to obtain, estimates suggest the number of workers laid off in games last year approached or exceeded 10,000. A recent GDC survey of developers suggests 1/3 of all game developers were impacted by layoffs last year, either directly or by witnessing them happen. So 1/3 of the industry was affected in one way or another. Now, that being said, witnessing them at their company, you might not think that's serious, but like when you've been a part of, I've witnessed it, and I've been a part of layoffs, it destroys morale. It destroys it. It's really hard thinking, hey, am I going to be cut next if they're making a lot of cuts? That being said, I don't think people realize there's, in the tech industry, and my camera went off because I changed this. I didn't change the settings, so give me a second. Let's see if I can get my other camera going. It technically overheats, and I don't have it set up to not do that ever since I moved my computer. Let's see here. There we go. I guess that's good enough. Give me 1 second. I know it's not as good of a camera, but it's gonna have to do. Just give me another second. There we go. Okay, so wow, that really bright. There we go. Maybe that won't wipe me out so much. Okay, so this is still devastating. If it affects 1/3 of an industry, that's devastating. And then people don't understand how devastating this is to our. I know we're probably going to see it within, like, we've had good 2 years of like really good releases, and because of that and with these layoffs, we're probably not going to see as many good games come out the next few years besides indie. This is a great time for indie, I think. And it's been said on and off that indies are getting too flooded, but I do think that, like, I think this opens up a lot more money for indies to make decent games and capture the low-hanging fruit of the market that AAA just doesn't see there. They don't want to take the risk to make hundreds of $1 million. They want to take the risk to make billions of dollars. They've gotten so big. And so we could see this as a positive, and maybe I need to start looking at things on the positive side of things, is that developers, hey, if you're an indie dev, if you know an indie dev, start supporting them. Okay. Let's see. I know, guys, we need to move on to PlayStation. Wolf, 7 Days also made a new game called 7 Days Blood Moons. I thought it was going to be part of the what? 7 Days Blood Moon. Okay. It's coming soon. Wow. Okay. We'll put that in our queue. Just looking through comments real quick. Doom seems to be in development. Hell After Eternal. Ooh. Oh, man. True Blue Action, dude. I love Doom series so much. It's one of my favorites. Man, I look so washed out on that camera. Cult, welcome. You're working too much. Ugh, you need to stop working so much, Cult. True Blue Action, dude. These retailers underestimate my cheapness. Hey, there's nothing wrong with it. Honestly, like, live within your means is what I kind of say. So if you can only afford budget games, then that's fine. Or if that's all you want to afford, that's fine. But understand, like, the more money we can give developers that we like, the more likely you're going to get games like that. Kind of vote with your money. That's how capitalism works. Call it just happened. Oh, well, it's good to have you here, Call it, by the way. Oh, there we go, Rachie. Anyone else see the new Arbenic? I'm not saying that right. I don't know. My brain's not working. Oh, okay, yeah. The Anbernic. This one? I have not seen this yet. Okay. Maybe we can get eye that over after this. Kranos, would you rather wait every 2 years for a Fallout 76 or wait every 5+ years for a Fallout New Vegas? I don't think we need to do either. I think they could be more episodic. I think Valve had something years ago on episodic content. They just didn't do it quite right. I'd be willing to wait. If let's say they make a new Fallout 5. I'd be fine if they released 50 hours of content every 2 years, which maybe is a lot to ask, but I'm fine. Like, you have this new region. Let's say they open up the West Coast. Like, you have the West Coast. It's massive. And they were like, this is Fallout West Coast. And then it has Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, LA, San Diego, stuff like that. Like, they have these major cities that you can transition to on a track or something that's been refurbished back up. Let's say something like that. Each city could be another 2-year development and open it up. And they could create new faults and new stuff from all that and make it fresh, but still having new content. It'd be like a DLC. Now, that being said, would it work? Would it not? Not sure. My type of game that I'm making is going to be just fine. It's about mechanics more than story, in the sense of you'll have fun in your 4 hours of gameplay. It's also hard to track DLCs, so like, I don't play games that have a lot of DLC. I don't play the DLC that much. Fallout's is a different story though, and they already kind of do the DLC thing with Fallout, so I'll go back and play DLCs Fallout typically. But yeah, I don't know what the full solution is. Kranos. True Actor, dude, I was referring to Costco. I'm on a mission when I go to a store. I get you, man. I get you. Hey, I am on a mission when I go to Costco or when I go to a store, but I'm also like, that looks tasty. I want to try something new. And I make a lot of different foods. And so shopping for if it's a new ingredient and I haven't used in a while, then that can be a little frustrating. Kranos, you mean like Euro or American Truck Simulator? Yeah. Exactly. It's Fallout Truck Simulator. which would be kind of fun, honestly. Okay, so let's move on. I am dying of thirst. Hold up. And I think the camera's cooled off enough. Because I think we have about another. Give me a second. Ooh. Oh. I think we have another 20 minutes of this. Okay, PlayStation reverses course on Helldivers 2 PSN account requirements. I don't know if you guys saw this, but over like the past week, Sony PlayStation and the developers of, I'm assuming it's not the developers of Helldivers 2, but Sony PlayStation made the very bizarre mistake of saying, hey, we sold millions of copies of this game that's super popular, people love. You know what we're going to do after we've sold it? We're going to require this PSN linking, and in so doing, make it unaccessible in 30, not 30, but like 100, I don't know. Yeah, 177 countries were delisted, and I believe even refunds were automatically put in, which is and then on top of that, you have people putting in refunds, you have people protesting it with Steam. Like, there's the Steam page for Helldivers is not good. I just don't get it. Like, this is a beloved game that was about working together, about camaraderie and goodwill, and making fun of too much of that in some ways. And then they go and pull this. Like, I'll be honest, like, it's been fixed a little bit because they've reversed, but it was all bad. Like, recent reviews, and half the reviews were done within the past 30 days. And there's a good chance that that changed. It's crazy. Let's see. I'm from the Philippines. That should be enough. Yeah, forcing all that. I'm not usually one for doing these kind of hate bombing, the opposite of love bombing, to make certain changes. This is one of the cases where I think it was very much needed, and it should show these developers or publishers it is more likely a publisher issue, that you cannot do that. You just can't. You cannot make these major changes like DRM, right? Or anti-cheat, stuff like that. Once you sold the game, you got to have an option for them to have the original game that they bought. Meaning, if you're going to add anti-cheat and it makes it so it's not playable in some regions or some devices, you better make sure that there's two different versions, that they can be servers that support it, servers that don't, their new system. That's because at the end of the day, that's on you for doing that. Now, if it's a free-to-play game and has some skins that you can buy, I'm a little bit more indifferent to that. I don't care about that. But if you have a base game that you buy, that you sold, that you said, hey, it's this, this, and this, you buy it, it works, then they change something, that's where I'm like, you get any rage that comes towards you, that's kind of on you. You could have just not touched the game, and you would have done just fine. But you had to go and screw around with the game and just piss everyone off. So you're like, with PlayStation, Sony, like, you rattled the freaking beehive, the wasp nest, in this case, Japanese wasp nest. So they're gonna, and it's mating season right now, and they get crazy during that season, and don't do that. And they learned, like, you have one of the biggest hits in a long time for an online game, and you screwed around with it. Like, you didn't even do your proper user testing. You could have found in like some user testing that this would have been a bad idea. From a business standpoint, like what you're taught in business school, this would not fly. You don't do this. As a developer and as someone that has had to do business and software side of things and doing a lot of different wearing hats and all that, you don't do this type of change out of nowhere. It's bonkers. Let's see what people have to say, and we'll dive a little bit deeper into this and then move on. So What's your opinion on Switch 2 announcement and Kratos? Switch 2 announcement expectations. We can talk about it. They're not announcing it until later this year, though, right? Like, it's not. Whoa. Whatever that was. Damn it. Yeah, that's fine. Switch 2. Yeah, Nintendo announces when the Switch 2 will be revealed. We can talk about that a little bit. I want to finish up with this and then we move on. The RG 35. This one. I have been wanting to get something like this, but it's the SP. Ooh, I like the wood. Where's the SP? I'm not seeing SP. We'll look through some of these. I'll give my I'll give my thoughts on it in a second. Raichi, PlayStation is giving 30% to Valve, but use of their superior services. Lol. They're not giving 30%. The Valve did the opposite of. I think they did the opposite of what Epic did. Epic, and this is why people don't realize, like, I like Epic more than Valve, or at least Steam, from a developer standpoint. Because what they do is the first $1 million, I think it's $1 million, is non-Epic taxed. After that, then they take 5%, which is reasonable for how good their engine is. And then their store also will take. Actually, I don't think the store takes any extra if you're selling exclusively on them and using their engine. So once again, I think that's very reasonable. Valve, on the other hand, has really good services, but their asking is really high. And it gets cheaper the more money you bring in for them, which is how they stated it more. I think 2 years ago, that they were going to change the pricing model. They were probably, if you were making over, I'm sure if you're making over $50 million, or if you're a big publisher, they were already making deals with you. They weren't paying what everyone else was paying for the 30%. So, yeah, there's no way PlayStation's paying 30%. Raichi, Gabe Newell is the only dude who's drowning in goodwill. Yeah, it's true. He is, but that 30% really does not look good. I think it's 25% now, isn't it? People also review bombed other Sony games because of this. Did they require PSN? So if they require PSN from the get-go, or if, let's say, the game wasn't perfect on the release, that's just what it is. Like, welcome to game development. Welcome to games. Welcome to imperfection in this world. My big thing, and I say, like, I'm not really... Give it time, whatever it is. If it's not the game that you wanted when it first came out, that's different than if you bought it, then they change it months later, and pretty much lock out 177 different countries from being able to play it after they've been able to play it for months is very different. These are very, like, this is a blatant case of, like, they effed up hard, and they deserved everything they got from this. And honestly, it really did kill some goodwill that PlayStation has been doing lately. Not this is what one is. It's a rumor for now. Oh, okay, it's a rumor for now. Okay. I guess where it's very interesting, but I wanted it cheap. Okay, we can look at that here in a second. Downside to that is that the pool of people is small on Epic. They might take a smaller cut, but a small pool is a small total earnings still. It is. But this is kind of how capitalism works, though. Is that, yeah, I'm not going to make as much from Epic, but they're trying to be competitive with their pricing model, right? So at the end of the day, am I not going to release? Of course I'm going to release on Steam, but I'm not going to say that I like their pricing model. I think it's archaic, and I think nowadays it should be reduced down to 15%. I think that's reasonable. They make so much money, and they're hoarding it away. I don't know what Valve does. The amount of money that they have and what they spend on actually upkeep is very drastically different. Kranos, 100% of 30 cells on, or 70% versus 30K sales on Steam. Okay, yeah. 30 cells on. You're not gonna get. Okay, 30K on both. Yeah. That's the thing. At the end of the day, I'm gonna promote Epic or the Epic Games service, the Epic Games, as the better person in this. At the end of the day, what would they do if they became the majority instead of the minority on sales? I don't know. I think like for now they have good enough goodwill to keep it where it's at, but I don't know down the road. Steam though, 30%, we saw that calculators. It really eats into developers. And some developers, and it's been said, there's a lot of developers, if you don't follow, that they'll make $1 million from their game, and they walk away with almost nothing, depending on how everything goes down, which is a travesty because then they can't make another game. They're done, unless it's a hobby based. So we're talking about millions of dollars here, and if someone walks away with none, there's something really wrong. Both with the game developer not knowing business and also the businesses overcharging. Steam, I'll be honest, runs a risk of being a monopoly on PC. I love Steam. But there might need to be, with Steam, Android, and iOS, there is something to take place that maybe needed to be done a while ago, and more antitrust and not antitrust, but maybe some antitrust, but like monopoly stuff going on. So like maybe some lawsuits, government needs to actually get involved again in Europe too. Because all three of those, Epic Games is there, and they're giving away games. I have 100+ games of Epics that were given to me, and I will still gravitate towards doing Steam more because I have my Steam Deck. I have most of my stuff on Steam. So I don't know. At some point, kind of got to figure it out, I guess. Great G, consoles should drop to 15%. I agree with that. Kranos, Epic is a public corporation with investors demanding infinite growth. It is not public, I don't think, is it? It is owned. Let's see. Epic Games No, actually, they're Cary-based, has been privately held company since it was founded by Tim Sweeney. Tim Sweeney owns a majority. I think he owns 51%. Or in some form or fashion, something along those lines. Now, it is owned by some, there's ownership from Disney now, and some other companies from China and all that. Yeah. Steam is also privately owned. That being said, that does not mean when Tim Sweeney passes or retires, and same with on the Valve side with Gabe Newell, Lord Gaben, that we will not end up on the crazy side of things, meaning it only takes a generation or two to destroy a company. So at the end of the day, I don't know. PitchBook calls Epic Games a strong candidate for a 2024 IPO. I don't think Tim Sweeney wants to do an IPO. And I think Tim Sweeney still owns a majority. So unless something changes there, I doubt that will become public this year. But who knows? Maybe. You guys are still... Okay, let's move on. I just want to say, though, we'll move on. That as gaming gets bigger and bigger, we're gonna have more and more traumatic like stuff like this happen. Luckily, there's a ton of games that we can pick from, and we can punish the bad ones. So at the end of the day, I think what Helldivers fans did was right. Normally, I would be like, okay, if someone's selling the game and there's like one thing, like even a live service thing, and you don't like it, like, I don't know. They kind of said it was live service from the beginning. I don't know why you're going to complain about it in a way that you do. You can, but like it was expected from the beginning. It's annoying, and I can say you can downvote it all you want, everything, but when you change the game after you buy it, that should be illegal in some ways. Like, or should be... illegal is like a strong word, but it's definitely regulated, meaning you got a penalty, man. Kranos, I do wonder why Helldivers 2 wasn't released on Epic Games. All the other Sony games did. That is true. That is interesting. It probably had to do with something. Maybe they used Steam's lobby system, and they didn't want to try to figure out both lobby systems of Steam and also Epic Games. Triple Magic Dude, like adding in Battle Pass after launching the game, looking at Tekken 8 is that like adding the Battle Pass in, that content wasn't already there. Once the game was launched, then they have a Battle Pass like for new content. I don't care about. If it was promised content that was going to be free, and then they change it to something like that, that's what I care about. But even still, Helldivers 2 having a PSN account requirement is pretty big F up from just the business side. Like if you're just a business person, man, you're really dumb. And I know that the social media manager got fired, but whoever made this decision, I'm usually not one to say fire people, but this is one, fire them. Like they're not good at business. Okay, so the next ROG Ally gaming handheld will be the focus on tomorrow's official live stream. Which is like, we'll have to see if it's actually called ROG Ally 2. Yeah, they might be coming out with, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they come out with a bigger version of the ROG Ally. It might be the ROG Ally Hefty or something like that, or the ROG Hefty. That'd be pretty fun. 2, I would definitely say, like, unless they upgrade the graphics, I don't know if I see an ROG Ally 2, but at the same time, they probably will. You gotta remember, these are game laptop companies like ASUS and Lenovo. These are laptop companies that are used to doing iterative laptop releases almost every year, maybe every other year. So you're probably gonna see handhelds similar with that mindset from them. While Steam Deck will remain being console-like, ROG Ally and the other title hardware pieces like it will be laptop release, and it will do fine. Like they wouldn't do it if they knew it wouldn't make money. Raichi, give Corpo an inch, they'll take a foot. Yeah, no, that's not a bad way to put it. Corporations try to make as much money for their stakeholders and for their investors, or investors is the right way to say it, as much as possible. So it's the system that's set up. That's why I'm not the biggest fan of the system that's fully set up right now. I don't think it's very conducive to what we want. Okay, so Kranos, Helldivers 2 uses Sony's own system with crossplay. No, probably, but I think Steam's crossplay too. So meaning that they want to do crossplay. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of a reason why it wouldn't have been on Epic Games and was only Steam released. True Blue Magic Dude, while Tekken 8 reviews have been out, they made themselves look better than Street Fighter 6 and Mortal Kombat 1, and then they went and patched in all the live service stuff. Oof, yeah, that's pretty bad. Okay, I agree with that. That's if you promoted it in such a way and then you patched in live services, then you're changing the core concept of what you sold in the beginning, and it should be opt out. Already a new ROG Ally, yikes! It is what it is. Like I said, for the people that buy ROG Allies, they probably don't mind upgrading every year or two, or what you'll probably see is people going in cycles, upgrading every 2 or 3 years. It keeps things fresh, and this is what they do with laptops. People are gonna more likely to buy the ROG Ally 2 than they are like a laptop every year. Who buys a new ASUS laptop every year, and they release a new version almost every year, every other year or something like that? It's fairly frequent. So there's obviously something to the formula, and I don't know what it is, but they're going to stick to their formula most likely. Well, Valve is going to stick to theirs of an upgrade cycle of probably every 4 to 5 years. Tomorrow. So, about 1 o'clock my time tomorrow. Let's do some predictions, okay? As far as the ROG Ally 2 is concerned, I think they're bare minimum going to release a new ROG Ally or ROG Handheld. ASUS is gonna release a new handheld. It is going to have a bigger screen if they're going the non-Ally 2 route. So if it's a different one, it's gonna be a bigger screen. Maybe similar to the Lenovo one. If they go the ROG Ally 2 route, then most likely it'll be the same size, and they'll just upgrade the screen, battery, and maybe from my understanding, from what I've heard, they're not going to be upgrading the graphics, but maybe the graphics. But yeah. Hey, Kranos, is great having you, man. You have a good night. I'm going to be calling it here soon-ish too, but we're going to get through some more of this. So I will, if it's a big thing tomorrow, then I'll do a video on it. If it's a small to medium thing, maybe I'll do a stream on it. I don't know. So, or vice versa. But I do plan on doing, I'm hoping it's decent enough. I will do some content on it. So keep an eye out for that. Let's see here. It's going to be a hardware refresh like the Steam Deck OLED. Leaks have indicated that the refresh model with more or less the same hardware, but with the fixed SD card slot and perhaps a bigger battery will be part of the... Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I'd be really interested to see what they come out with, so yeah. Oh, this is interesting. So this mod right here has an extra screen you can attach to it. It's a ROG Ally mod. That's an extra touchscreen. The difference between Steam Deck and this is that Steam Deck doesn't support very well a secondary screen when it is in game mode. So I could see getting the ROG Ally and with Windows, and you can still play games and watch something with the above screen, or use it for whatever you want. It's kind of a interesting concept. So I want to talk about that a little bit, but yeah, we're going to continue on with let's see here. If there's anything else you guys want to talk about, let me know, or else we're going to continue on. 7 Days Blood Moons. So the 7 Days Blood Moons is a 4v1 fight to the death. Survivors fortify bases and scavenge for materials in their plight against the relentless horde. The zombie hive master commands and possesses the horde to crush the survivors who will prevail. Wow, that's kind of cool. I mean, I don't play these types of games very often, but I might with this one. So you're the game master. I'm assuming it's like Left 4 Dead, in the sense of you have 4 people that are trying to defend and everything like that, and you have one person that is going to, if they were placing the bad guys down around it. So yeah. Raichi, why do you need a smaller handheld? So yeah, I like that. I like that, Wolf. Good call out there. I'm excited to see how this game does. When does it release? It has no time when it's going to release. Probably in the next year, I'd assume. Okay, cool. As far as everything else, I am done. I'm sorry, guys, but my tired button went off. I am exhausted. So with that, thank you guys for watching. I will update. On my projects and everything another time, maybe next week or on another stream, or maybe in a post. So keep an eye out for that. I am going to call it, though. I was hoping to get to some of the other stuff, but we'll get to that next time. Just if you remind me, okay? As far as anything else, let me know in Discord, as I'm being more active there. I'm back I have all my stuff taken care of from my business side of things and everything else. So now I'm ready to go and get things done. So Kona Mermaid on Game Pass looks like a scary game. Ooh, your pop. Okay, I'm gonna put that on my list. I'm gonna look at it, but I'm not gonna look at it on this stream. Okay, so thank you guys for stopping by. I will have more updates later. Just know that I'm doing more content again. I know I always say that, but at least I'm back here on stream, and I have been putting. I should have an update for the Deck Revealed project out within the next week, as long as I can. There's just one bug that's like kind of a big bug. That once I get that resolved, then the new update will come out, and then we'll make the app usable again, and I'll stop getting hate mail. I've been getting a lot of hate mail from people that, yeah. So, Chalice, are you interested in the Orange Pie Neo? That gets Smith for you. Welcome. I'm about to head out. I am interested in it, but not enough to potentially buy it. I think it's interesting. Once they have I know they have their own version of the Manjaro operating system. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm sorry, Cat Smith. You can always go back through and watch it, or catch me next week. But yeah, the Orange Pi Neo is definitely interesting, and I'm curious how it's definitely one of the more interesting consoles coming out this year, like handheld gaming devices. I'm not sure about it yet. Meaning, I might pick it up, I might not. It depends on price and availability. If it's later this year, I might get it. Right now, I'm all my funds are going towards my video game right now, which I bought the water system, and also preparing for an iPad. I'm going to get an iPad at one point for design purposes, because I want to start doing rough sketches of my game on there too. So I need a concept of what I'm looking at. Okay. With that, thank you guys for watching. Catch you guys next time. It's every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific. So yeah, come and check me out next time. Catsmouth for you. I had an issue with my Steam Deck where it straight up refused to output video regardless of what I did, but I fixed it. Oh, good job, Catsmith. Glad you did. We'll catch you next time. We'll catch everyone next time. And like always, I always have stuff in the works, so hopefully some good content coming out very soon. Peace out, guys. Later.